All right, folks, it is May 27th, 2024, and we have a live session where we're going to be talking about some crazy talk is about to be happening here on the YouTube channel. We're talking $10,000 to $25,000 ETH predictions. That's right, folks. In this live, I'm going to break it down, a full update, current events, financial markets, and we are going to be talking cryptocurrency, how it aligns with us getting on the right side of the greatest transfer of wealth in world history. You already know the deal. And we have some crazy Ethereum predictions that have just started rolling in. And so I wanted to talk about that in today's show, along with some other happenings with NVIDIA running up right now, gold and silver back up as well. But obviously, you know what's going to get the attention. It's NVIDIA, it's the meme stocks, it's Bitcoin, it's Ethereum really stealing the show right now with predictions coming out of the woodworks. Is Ethereum going to flip Bitcoin? And the reason why I titled this session as such is just because I want to have a little bit of fun here. I laugh at the fact that we can't talk about big time price predictions. We can't talk about all of the utility coming to the XRP Ledger without folks trying to come rain on our parade, right? Without folks trying to shut us down and tell us, how dare we talk about some higher price predictions. And in this session, I'm going to explain, why we have the same exact utilities coming to the XRP Ledger, but they actually work. And they're actually happening in a decentralized way on the layer 1 protocol versus an ecosystem like Ethereum where everything's happening on layer 2s. There's a lot of centralized layer 2s. There's a lot of programs, I think, that just aren't going to last, but they got to market first with NFTs, with memes, and it moved. They're having a good time. Obviously, the free pass for Ethereum gave it an advantage, along with Bitcoin. Bitcoin and Ether have really ran the show so far, but I think that's about to change, and I'm going to explain that further in this update. Now, I appreciate everybody for stopping by here today. Really looking forward to this session. If you guys haven't already, please make sure you subscribe. Hit that notification bell just so you don't miss in case I'm going live here. It's 11 o'clock on the East Coast, 8 o'clock here on the West Coast. Still working, still grinding, figured might as well fire up a live show because there's just so much that took place over the weekends. Hope everybody enjoyed their Memorial Day. I know many folks still working out there, still grinding, still hustling, but we do take some time today definitely to reflect on those that paid the ultimate sacrifice. And I tell you what, I still, every single time I hear that taps fire up, it hits me, and that is something that I think is so special about what we have in some of our community members. I can see it from you guys firsthand, and I can feel it from you too in the energy. Our community remains so strong. A lot of veterans in our community, a lot of military family members in our community, and a lot of folks who get it. When that taps fires up, you get it, you feel it, and you're ready to die for it too. See, this is the difference between what we're doing in this space and the rest of the space that's playing around with Mickey Mouse meme coins, is we're willing to die for it. Now, that's crazy talk, right? What are you talking about? We're just here for a little crypto gains. No. This is way bigger than crypto. This is about our capital markets being hijacked through regulatory capture. This is about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness on a level playing field. See, this is the new one that I've added, my new saying. And I've added a little piece to the saying that we all know, right? Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And I added in there, on a level playing field, as we've been saying, right? I wasn't the first to come up with the level playing field term. I'm just adding it to the saying that we live, breathe, and are willing to die for here in this country. So many of us, all we want is the opportunity. I don't want it guaranteed. I don't want it handed out. I don't want it forgiven. I want you to get the heck out of my way, because I'm going to bring the value to the marketplace just like so many of you guys, entrepreneurs, capitalists, investors, figuring out how we can make a difference while bringing that bread home to our family. That's what it's about, folks. So without further ado, I want to get into this update. We're going to start with current events, go into financial markets, wrapping it up with cryptocurrency. So much to cover, so let's get right on into it. I appreciate you guys for stopping by. Let's rock and roll. Now, this is China preparing a large military fleet to invade Taiwan, the Telegraph reports. So this is from the Telegraph. We're hearing multiple reports right now that they're preparing cruise ships, ferries, It is about to be very interesting, to say the least, over there in Asia, Taiwan, China, and the broader region as a whole. We have the currency crisis in Japan. We have China making moves here. Taiwan, so critical, especially with the chips and everything there. It's going to be very interesting to see how this one plays out, but this is the reports that we're getting right now, along with China dumping $74 billion worth of U.S. treasuries in 7 months. They're dropping them at the fastest pace since the Great Financial Crisis. Saudi Arabia just dropped $15 billion worth of U.S. equities, which was about 41% of their sovereign wealth funds' equity position in U.S. stocks. To simplify, their U.S. stock position, they nearly just cut in half. That's a 41% cut. That's nearly half. And that was $15 billion worth of stocks that the Saudi Arabian sovereign wealth fund just dropped. Now, China dumping here $74 billion worth of U.S. treasuries just in the past 7 months. It is happening, a currency commodity, and it's being fought, a kinetic war on the ground as well. Moves are being made. They're not here to play games. They're making moves. And right now, we can see this. Some of the covert warfare that's taking place right now, not all of it's visible, but without a doubt, we can confirm with the data that they are absolutely unloading here. And then there's new trade deals being announced every single day right now with the BRICS, plus all of the other nations that want to get away from the US dollar. That is what is underway right now. One more data point on the war and the current events. Netanyahu responding to the Rafah airstrike today, calling it a tragic mistake. Gaza health officials said that at least 45 people were killed in the airstrike, including displaced people who were living in tents that were engulfed by fire. Netanyahu, quote, "Despite our utmost efforts not to harm innocent civilians last night, there was a tragic mistake. We are investigating the incident and will obtain a conclusion because this is our policy." Now, also along the border, we had an exchange, shots being fired between Egyptian border guards and Israeli. And so it's tense, to say the least, right? Market impact, massive. Is it being priced in? No. That's the arbitrage. That's the opportunity right now. And that's why, and I say this, I pray for peace every single day. I say this thousands of miles away from the conflict, sitting cozy over here in my office, trying to figure out what can I do to protect my family. The war is not here on my doorstep yet, in the form of a kinetic battle, but it is definitely here in the form of a currency and a commodity war. So what can I do besides pray every single night for peace? But you can see here that it is tense. It is continuing, with more about to ramp up here, it looks like, throughout the rest of this year. So I know we're only about 5 months in here, about to be at June, and it's already been a crazy 2024, a historical 2024, and we're just getting started. So strap in, make sure you guys are prepared. I asked the question, how's your program working out? And for many people, it's been working out. Well, we were handing out participation trophies on our economy while we had the lowest interest rates in mankind's history. While everybody was having a good time, nobody had to pay their debt, nobody had to do anything, stay at home, receive a check, live a good life. And now you got, all sorts of ways to get distracted and plugged in to a system, get out of the reality that revolves around real resources. People forget that. Despite the craze of AI, despite the craze of metaverse, despite the craze of blockchain gaming or whatever the next story is going to be to hype folks up, at the end of the day, we need the critical minerals to run the world. We know that these precious metals are going to be used to back the system. And so it is happening in real time. The stocks are going up too. I'm not going to deny it. It is a fact. Look at NVIDIA right now, exploding to a new all-time high of $1,100 in overnight trading. And the point is that asset prices are going to continue going higher, the ones that matter. Now, which is the best stock? I'm not a stock picker. I don't have anything in the equity markets right now. I'm only looking at making private equity investments. But when it comes to stocks like NVIDIA, is it overpriced? Is it overvalued? I believe so, but I'm not standing in front of that freight train. And I know how much money printing we've had. And I know it's a lot easier. It's a lot sexier to go buy a crypto, to go buy a meme, to go buy an NVIDIA stock versus go down to your local precious metals dealer and pick up some utility with no counterparty risk. It's a lot easier to click that button and just go buy a little stock, buy a little meme, have a little fun. But it's all fun and games until we find out what the real assets are going to be revalued at. Now, for those that have made gains in NVIDIA and the broader stock market, I'm here for it. I just ask, how much longer can it continue? I'm not going to stand in front of it. I'm not going to short this thing, but I am going to call the bluff. I am going to call the valuation out. And if I get proven wrong, I'm happy for those that made money. But how much longer will it last? And you cannot forget the 68% drawdown that NVIDIA did have in 2022. Our memories are short-term right now. And folks forget that we had that massive pullback of 68, nearly 70% back in 2022. And we've rallied back up and we're back at all-time highs. Why? Because they printed a bunch of money. We had the lowest interest rates in history. And it was relatively easy times. A lot of the market participants, and I'm talking about retail traders that are thinking that everything's A-okay, are in for a rude awakening, I think, when we get this next correction. Even if it's not the 68% that we saw for NVIDIA in 2022, it is coming. It is coming. So where does it fall in the risk to reward ratio? What are you trying to get? Another 10, 20% out of this sucker versus downside exposure risk of 50 to 60 to 70% just 2 years ago? Not, back during the great financial crisis, it fell. No. 2 years ago. In the current environment, before the market actually realized what the heck was happening. And hey, I'm just calling it like it is because this is the market that predicted 6 rate cuts last year, 7 rate cuts this year. We've gotten 0 so far, with expectations now falling down to 1. That's how stupid our market is. That's how wrong they were. So the market and the broader economy and the talking head pundits are finally having to admit that it is breaking right now. Despite these stocks still going up to new all-time highs, the disconnect between Wall Street and Main Street is very real, and that gap is widening. And this is why I say that not everybody's going to get on the right side of the transfer of wealth. Not everybody's going to maximize that opportunity. But some folks, well, they're going to get completely wiped out. We are going to get more data coming out this week, and right now, we're looking, this is the big ones coming in here. We have the Case-Shiller Home Price Index coming out tomorrow morning. That's going to be very, very interesting, along with consumer confidence. But the big one this week is going to be GDP, the first revision. That's where we're at with the economic data, folks. Not one revision. We need 2. We need 3. Comes out 6 months to a year later. And by the time we're already in a recession, well into a recession, usually 6 to 12 months, is when they can finally look back at the data and realize, oh, crap. The economy was crappy. You guys weren't just feeling that. No, it actually did go to crap. And right now, the initial reading for GDP was 1.6%. Remember, this is down from 3% GDP growth. So we cut our growth in half. The rate at which we were growing was cut in half. But that was the first reading. Now, when you look at the forecast, they're expecting it to go down to 1.2%. The first reading, you might as well throw out the door. And as I've been saying, you might as well throw half the economic data that they're feeding us out the door too, because it's not the real data that actually matters. And if you don't know how to decode it, then you're just playing around with numbers that are false, fake, and manipulated. At best, a half truth. So we're going to get GDP coming out on Thursday, pending home sales, a little bit more real estate data. I'm due for another real estate update, by the way, guys. I have on our playlist, the real estate reset playlist has all of the real estate updates. And, excuse me, like I said, I'm due for another one. That's going to probably be coming out this week. And then we also just updated our interview playlist by adding the interview with Andy Scheckman. If you guys missed that one, make sure you guys check that out. And then we got PCE. That's right. Yeah, we got PCE is going to be coming out on Friday. So more inflation data. It's a week full of good data. We'll be watching that one closely. Speaking of data that's pretty crazy to witness, Argentina, folks. This month, Argentina started circulating $10,000 peso notes for the first time in the country's history, worth the equivalent of $11 per the Financial Times. Prices rose at a rate of 8.8% last month in Argentina, down from a monthly rate of 11% in March. $10,000 peso notes. Now, of course, it can't happen here. Of course, it can't happen here in the United States of America. We're always going to have the reserve currency. Everything's going to be fine. Inflation's 3%. Yeah, sure. Folks, this is why we've been explaining how these other countries don't have a choice. They don't have a time, they can't sit around and decide how to be politically correct about the situation. It's on fire. The streets are on fire. The streets are full of people doing black market transactions for Argentine pesos for US dollars. It just fell to its worst level ever, just continues to slide. Even though our dollar is being devalued, relatively speaking, all these other countries are in a much worse predicament. And the Federal Reserve forced it by raising rates the way that they did. It forced everybody else, when they go, they're not having to pay back. And when they go to restructure their debts, right? Historical losses on their bonds. And when it's time to restructure, they're screwed because the cost of debt's gone up 100%. And it's inflicting more pain on the rest of the world as it's bolstered the US dollar. It's crazy to think as an American, and we see all our inflation, we think our dollar is crap. Our dollar is going to, you know what? Well, compared to everybody else, no, their dollars are actually toilet paper. Okay? Now, in regards to all of this getting solved, in regards to all of this getting updated, in regards to crazy price predictions, which I'm going to talk about, I know I titled this video, Crazy ETH Predictions, 10 to 25,000. I'm about to get there. And the way that that happens too is by the massive amount of money printing and inflation that we've already had, i.e. Bitcoin going to 70,000, okay, gold going to all-time highs right now, right? This is all part of that. We're going to get to the crazy predictions. If you would have told our grandparents that we were paying, $7 for a Starbucks latte, they would have had a heart attack. My grandma would have smacked me if I told her that I paid $7 for a Starbucks latte. They wouldn't believe that we spend $400 or $500 at the grocery store. They wouldn't believe that we're paying $4 a gallon for gas. They wouldn't believe that it's $30 per ounce, that it's $2,400 per ounce for gold. They wouldn't believe that the median average home in America is over $400,000 when they were doing it for $40,000. So what seems crazy and absurd to us now, we haven't seen nothing yet in the inflationary moment that we are now living through. Now, are we going to go full Argentina, full Venezuela, full Zimbabwe? Probably not. Eventually, we have to reset it, though. Eventually, we have to revalue it. And I thought that I had a really good conversation with Andy Schechtman talking about, once again, an adult in the room who gets it. They've added these assets to their balance sheets. In the case of the central banks, gold. And the way that you do this is you ride that value up, and then you can write off a lot of the debts. You can pay back a lot of the debts, and you can back the new system not by a full 1-to-1 gold standard, but you can at least do a 5 to 10% gold standard, gold backing, right? You don't do a 1-to-1 peg, but you do somewhat of a backing after you've rode that asset up that you've been stacking at a pace that we haven't seen in 50 plus years, while you give the masses get Mickey Mouse meme coins to trade around, they're stacking the real assets. The update is here, without a doubt, and this is right what we're talking about. Starting tomorrow, it will take just 1 day to settle U.S. stock trades down from 2 previously. So we're going from T2 to T1. T1 settlement has arrived. And speaking of rolling it on over, I wanted to give a huge shout out here to Brad Kimes, who was invited to DC Blockchain Summit and allowed to participate in the event here where he interviewed the CEO and founder of Securitize, Carlos Domingo. That is our very own from the XRP community right there, Mr. Bradley Kimes, hosting that conversation. And I wanted to give him a huge shout out because this is why I've been saying our XRP community, a lot of folks want to say that we're just playing around, we're crazy, this and that. No. Mr. John Deaton is about to go take it away from Elizabeth Warren. We got a community of folks that are making a difference. Mr. Bradley Kimes, perfect example. Heading into DC, Blockchain Summit. This is bigger than XRP. This is bigger than crypto. This is about saving our country with John Deaton leading the way. How do you think that Trump's going, he says that he's going to keep Elizabeth Warren from our crypto? How do you think that gets done? Electing our good friend John Deaton, part of the XRP army. So I wanted to give a shout out to Brad Kimes for doing that deal. I love to see it. But then I also wanted to share that Securitize, it's a real deal, folks. Look at this one. This is from Ledger Insights, and you can see right here, Securitize raised $13 million in seed funding from crypto firms such as Ripple, Blockchain Capital, and Coinbase. This is a company that Ripple invested in a long time ago, right? This was May 2nd, 2024. They just did another raise. I guess this actually wasn't that long ago. This was only May 2nd. I thought this was actually a while ago. I apologize. But yeah, just here recently, once again, I knew that there was something there that I'd just seen. And sure enough, Ripple has invested in this company. Mr. Bradley Kimes hosting the interview. Love to see it. Now, once again, we got some interesting stuff taking place in the Bitcoin and the Ether world with early whales. Remember, we don't even know who's in it. We don't know who holds it. We don't know who's going to sell it. When it comes to XRP, at least we know. Ripple's got a big bag. They got an escrow. They're being very transparent with how they're dealing with it. Yeah, Chris Larson has a bunch of XRP. Brad Garlinghouse, David Schwartz. David Schwartz is the $1 trillion man. Yeah, they have a lot of XRP. Are they worthy of that XRP? You bet. You bet. Are they worthy of being billionaires? You bet. Absolutely. When you solve $1 trillion problems, you might make some money for yourself. I know it's a crazy idea. I know folks want to get jealous because Chris Larson has a little Porsche whip and Brad Garlinghouse has a little house. When you solve $1 trillion problems, you make a bag for yourself. Hello. Welcome to the adult conversation. No, they're not dumping on us. When we actually go back and look, they've only been selling in coherence with on-demand liquidity since 2019. Let's fact check it real quick. But when it comes to Bitcoin and Ethereum, they're allowed to make crazy price predictions. They're allowed to do whatever the heck they want because they got the free pass. And now we're seeing it come through with the Mt. Gox once again. We don't know who this is. We don't know what the plan is, but Mt. Gox is transferring Bitcoin out. They've already transferred 12,000 Bitcoin worth about 843 million to a new wallet and still hold 125,000 Bitcoin, equivalent to 8.66 billion. What's the plan? What's going to happen? Remember, this year it started them trying to actually give the Bitcoin back or give the cash back. Right? In many cases, they got paid back in cash. They didn't get paid back in Bitcoin. So once again, God forbid the XRP community talks about crazy price predictions. God forbid our executives and our CEOs and the creator of the XRP Ledger has some XRP and makes a little bit of money, right? God forbid we talk about high prices. But when it comes to Etherland, Wall Street now sees Ethereum hitting $14,000 in 2025. Here's why. And the reason why I'm bringing this up here today, I'm making a little joke, having a little fun, jabbing at my Bitcoin and Ethereum bros. But what I want to get to is the setup that I've been talking about. The setup when it comes to Ether getting set up here once again. In my algorithm on Twitter, I'm scrolling through and I got 3 data points right here to show you guys. One from Zero Hedge, which is a major news outlet. One from this guy on Twitter saying my ETH target this cycle is between 10 to 25,000. Yes, that's a big range, but I don't think anyone can credibly predict the impact of low liquid supply of ETH on exchanges, plus one of the lowest L1 token inflation out there, paid to stakers with minimal OpEx who don't need to sell to keep operating, unlike miners, is going to play out when paired with Wall Street demand, plus financial world legitimacy, plus narrative machine, plus ability to buy in IRAs, plus L2 spinning up massively scaled real use of Ethereum. Things could get incredibly stupid, and I'm here for it. Hey, I'm here for it too. What's good for Bitcoin, what's good for Ether is eventually going to be good for this space. Once again, the ETFs getting approved is good for this space. Bitcoin and Ether starting it off. That's great. Ether gets the free pass. That's great. Now that we've had to fight our way through court to get clarity, but we did it. We won. We have clarity. Oh, and we're actually getting institutions that matter to use our cryptocurrency. Now, and then I come across this one from JC. Will Ethereum ever flip Bitcoin? Now, I talk about this all the time about the potential for XRP to flip Ethereum once again. And I really don't even think it's crazy to say that, XRP could flip Bitcoin. Is it likely? I don't see it likely anytime soon, but is it impossible? Well, absolutely not. Absolutely not. No, there definitely is a chance. There's no reason why not. But God forbid the XRP community feels that way. God forbid we have a little bit of passion. God forbid we have a positive attitude and a smile on our face, even though our token's at whatever the heck it's at right now. You guys can tell me because I didn't check price today. Other than one time earlier when the market was above 70,000, I saw XRP went to 54 cents. I don't want to lie to you. I checked the market once today and I saw that it was up 2%. But the reason why I'm showing you guys this one, will Ethereum ever flip Bitcoin? It has way more users. It has this, it has that. It's doing this. The reason why I'm saying this is because this is the narrative machine already live. These guys are acting like the narrative machine is waiting to get fired up. No, it's already live. The narrative machine's already been going. The free pass already has been around since 2018. Now, I've been acknowledging the fact that I think that Ethereum goes higher. The fact that I think that Ethereum still can do a lot better. But what I'm worried about is folks falling for the trap that was set for Bitcoin. Bitcoin went up 100% before the ETFs were approved, and then it dumped over 20%. For Ethereum, we officially just hit the 40% mark. So not as much as Bitcoin as far as growth, but about a 40% rally right here from the local lows of about 2,800 back in early May. That's right, back in early May. And we, basically tapped off this level about 4 times, this 2,800 level. Tapped off this sucker about 4 times before we blasted off here to bring in the ETFs. And remember, the ETF trading has not gone live yet. But the day that it went live for Bitcoin, that's when we got the dump. That was right here, January 11th, a day that will live for a very long time. Bitcoin spot trading ETF goes live, 21% dump. The narrative is already live. The machine is already live. You're already trading against them. And this is the problem that I see in this setup right here. When the timeline on Twitter is getting flooded with all this bullish talk. Oh, is ETH going to 10,000 to 25,000? Is it going to flip Bitcoin? Zero Hedge talking about Wall Street. Wall Street now is saying that it's going to go to 14,000. Here's the thing, guys. I'm not willing to rule out a $10,000 ETH. I'm not willing to rule out a $25,000 ETH. Is it going to happen anytime soon? I think that the best that we get is approaching 10,000 this cycle for ETH. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Okay. From this level, that's still doubling up your money, then some, 2.5x, that's not bad. It's not bad. For Bitcoin, I think that Bitcoin can double from the levels of 70,000. Yeah, 140,000, 150. I think we max out at about 150,000 this cycle for sure. For ETH, like I said, I think that there's a whole lot of selling pressure above 5,000. When we take a look at ETH, okay, now the all-time high was just shy of 5,000. Actually, I'm going to collapse my RSI so we can get a full chart right here. And there you have it. Right up here. 4,874 is the top for Ether. There is going to be so much sell pressure at 5K. A ridiculous amount. Now, is that going to stop it from going on further though? I don't think so. JJ with the 2 spot. I'm glad you're back. G, have a blessed everything. Yeah, JJ, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate the support. everybody who's tuned in here today. I'm about to get to some Q&A. I just have a couple more data points on XRP, and then I want to get to Q&A. For ETH, I think that the cycle tops at, I would say about 7 to 10,000, right? I think that it doubles up from the previous all-time high. And I think that that's basically what we're going to get out of the overall cryptocurrency space, broadly speaking, is about a 2 to 3x once again, which takes us to about a $6 to $9 trillion market cap this bull run. Brad Garlinghouse predicts 5. I'm giving us a little bit more, 6 to 9 trillion. And that's just because we already have so much, exposure, so much money's already been here. How much more is coming? A lot more, but is it all going to go into Bitcoin and Ether? I think they're going to get the large part of it, but I think that we are going to get a lot of, it's just a fact that there's hundreds of thousands more tokens for folks to get exposure to. So although, yes, they're building a position in Bitcoin and Ether, you got a lot of folks that are getting into crypto still to this day that own meme coins before they own Bitcoin, Ether, or XRP. Right? I mean, maybe they buy some Ether to be able to get the meme coin, to be able to buy an NFT or whatever they're going to buy, right? But there's still a lot of new folks coming into this space that before they own really any considerable position, they're buying memes. Oh, my buddy told me I got to get on Dogecoin. I got to get on SHIB. I got to get on Pepe. I got to get on Coinbase tokens now. I got to get on Solana Bro tokens now. I got to buy this Mickey Mouse meme coin before they've built up a position in any of these assets that have real staying power. As far as Ethereum staying power, it's definitely there. The EVM is massive. Layer 2s continue to pop up. And in a sense, they are all Ethereum, I don't want to say Ethereum killer, but in a sense, right, they are all taking away market share from Ethereum, just in the fact that all the activity is going over there and you still have to burn Ethereum for the gas fees. But that's not going to be eventually, why wouldn't folks just create additional layer 1s, additional side chains with EVM capabilities, just like we're getting with the XRP Ledger, where we're taking the best of Ethereum, which is the EVM, and we're settling those transactions with the wrapped XRP. It's the best of both worlds. You get the EVM smart contract capability, and you get all of the experienced, smart contracts that have already been built out and developed, and developers who have real experience building over there now can actually build on a chain and work with a chain where settlement can happen in 3 to 5 seconds with no real lag time and no gas fees that are as exorbitant as the ETH gas fees that we've seen over the past couple years. So you guys see it. Let me know in the comments down below if you think, what's your price prediction for Ether this run? Right now, what I'm watching is short-term, buy the rumor, sell the news on Ether. Is it going to run up to 4,000, 5,000 before we get that pullback? Definitely in the cards, but I think that we get that pullback. Once we get that pullback, though, the ETF goes live, sell off. That's for me when I'd say, okay, maybe pick up a spot position then. Would I pick one up now? No, I'm not interested. But I'm not here to give you financial advice. I'm just here to explain my story, which is I'm not really interested. And will I ever own Ethereum? Probably not, just because from a moral standing, I just don't believe in doing that. Being part of something that corrupted our capital markets and tried to hijack our capital markets. I don't believe in being part of that. When it comes to XRP, though, I wanted to share a couple data points here. Japanese XRP Ledger builders are stepping up. This one from Vet. This protocol allows public NFTs on the XRP Ledger to carry private data that can only be read by the owner, opening up the XRP Ledger NFTs to some serious use cases like intellectual property of research, discoveries, and much more. Now, this is where we start to get exciting with the utility. Public NFTs on the XRP Ledger that carry private data that can only be read by the owner. This is some real utility. And this is coming to the XRP Ledger right now. We got Japanese and Korean developers and institutions stepping in. I wanted to share this clip here with David Schwartz talking about the partnership with Acceler and Ripple, talking about interoperability. Take a listen in on this one, folks.
As far as the XRP Ledger vision, we need interoperability. Interoperability is going to be, it's going to be what allows us to have customers. It's going to allow us to have an audience that we can market products to.
So our goal is to make XRPL one of the primary hubs for issuing and trading real world assets, starting with stable coins and
one of the primary hubs for trading real world assets. That's the objective of Acceler. And remember, they're going to be bringing about 60 assets to the XRP Ledger. How about that for firing up some liquidity, folks?
moving into tokenized treasuries as well. And so I think that you guys really have the reputation that's needed in order to bring on some of these TradFi institutions into the space.
Our vision is that we can make XRPL the leading hub for real world assets and stablecoin, given Ripple's unique advantages with the regulatory clarity and all of the relationships that it's built with financial institutions and enterprises over the years.
Between the combination of the two DEX systems to support any liquidity environment, the influx of new assets through Orchestra, we're really setting the stage to become somewhat of a liquidity hub or a central DEX across all of crypto.
So that's really our vision and our hope as we start to partner up with different interoperability players to really make the XRP Ledger a hub for value transfer.
Yep. Yep. And that's Jazzy Cooper from Ripple. Huge shout out to Jazzy. Raphael, thank you for the 2 spot. I really do appreciate that. If you guys want to drop your comments and questions down below, I'll get right to them. Here's the thing, guys. Right now, we've seen Ether was ahead with the free pass from a legal standpoint. Ether was ahead with smart contracts. Uniswap was the first AMM. We're finally now all seeing that come to the XRP Ledger with legal clarity and with it happening at the layer 1 protocol. That's the big difference that I see right now, along with the actual willingness from larger institutions that are willing to work with Ripple and actually use the XRP Ledger. I do see institutions using Ethereum, but not in the way that I'm seeing institutions show up to the XRP Ledger, showing interest in XRP partnering with Ripple. Now, on Ethereum, though, let's be very clear, there's been a lot of great things built using the EVM, using the smart contracts over there. There's just because the biggest institutions in the world aren't partnered up with Ethereum, consensus, using Ether in any sort of major way, doesn't mean that what hasn't been built over there isn't significant. It is. And that's what I'm saying. What the XRP Ledger has been set up for is to be that hub for liquidity, as they explain right there. You tokenize real world assets, you have interoperability with other chains, and you allow the XRP Ledger to be the best source of liquidity in the world. That's what I think they're really trying to achieve, is one of the best sources of liquidity in the world. As David Schwartz said in his vision for the XRP Ledger, these deep, open, public pools of liquidity that anybody can add to or draw from. It's now starting to unveil itself, and it's happening with utilities and amendments being passed at the protocol level. Once again, the distinction is between it happening at the layer 1 protocol level with XRP versus at the layer 2 with Ethereum, and the pinch points, the choke points for the SEC and others to go after Uniswap for their AMM. Now, I'm not a fan of what the SEC is doing in this regard. It's just a fact of what they're dealing with versus us over here operating now in the clear. We're in the clear at the protocol level, completely decentralized, and the caliber of institutions that have shown interest in the XRP Ledger, working and partnering with Ripple versus those that are interested in Ethereum. It's like folks are only using Ethereum just because it's there. Like it's the option. And as soon as something else presents itself, folks are showing interest. Look at Solana. Look at the growth of Solana, right? Been very incredible. You want to talk about something else that's going to get hyped up once again. You guys know it already did, but with the potential for now, they're talking about the Solana ETFs going forward, and that narrative's already starting. That media machine's already pushing, and there's plenty of VC money behind Solana, right? And it's happening in the XRP world too. It's just folks don't see it. Folks are full of recency bias. They're looking at the chart today. The markets are up, but XRP's still only at 54 cents. It's not where I want it to be. I'm getting impatient. I need money now. I do too. And to create some money now for myself, that's where I go run my businesses. That's where I have trading strategies that will actually generate money for me right now. When you make fundamental investments, like Warren Buffett famously said, right? You should be willing to hold any position that you have for 5 to 10 years and down 50%. If your position goes down 50% and you're not willing to buy in, well, that's not a stock that you have real conviction in. That's the difference between what I see in fundamental positions like XRP, and we have some other cryptocurrencies, of course, too, versus the hype train that we've seen go from Ether to Solana to NFTs to Metaverse to AI. And it's just the carrot on the stick for the average retail investor that just continues to get sucked in to the next hype machine. And lately we saw the celebrities getting hacked. We had Caitlyn Jenner with a meme coin. We had Rich the Kid. We had all these guys with all these celebrity pump and dumps basically that just happened. And they're coming out and saying, oh, my account got hacked. Oh, this happened, that happened. It's all shady. It's all shady. And it exemplifies our cryptocurrency space that's so desperately trying to get that clarity. The regulations just allow us to work. And it really damages the case that we're making when we still have this crap going on. So I'm thankful that the United States is finally bringing regulations about. They're providing definitions. They're providing clarity on when something is centralized, when it's decentralized, when it's an investment contract, when it's not. There's including some stuff in the Fit 21 bill that I don't like, that I'm not a fan of, limiting non-accredited investors to only 10% of their net worth or their income can be invested in any of these projects directly from an issuer. I'm not a fan of that. That's once again restricting investment in private equity. Not a fan of that. But we got to move this forward broadly, more generally speaking, if we want to even have a chance at competing around the world when they're all full speed ahead when it comes to DLT technology. Excuse me. Now, let's get to some Q&A, guys. Is it an ETH bubble? Yes. Short term? Yes. Milton says, Zach puts a lot into his videos. Hit that like, guys. Yes, if you guys haven't already, please. It really does help me. Tap it, smack it, whatever you're feeling. If you're happy, tap it. If you're mad, smack it. Do something with it. Or if you don't like me, you don't like my content, you can just hit the thumbs down too. But make sure you leave a comment and tell me why you don't like me. We need that comment from you before you leave. Okay? Now, let's do Q&A, guys. Let's fire it up. We got some time here. I got an adult beverage to sip on, so I'm going to enjoy myself. A little Modelo with a lime. What do you guys say? Cheers. God bless. And Stu, that's just it. We got gamblers trying to call themselves investors, trying to play around calling themselves sophisticated investors. Why should we pay so much in gas fees with ETH? Well, Michael, that's exactly why I can't stand it. It makes me sick to my stomach. I went to receive NFTs for free. Somebody was sending me ETH NFTs for free. And I didn't have any NFTs. And I thought, okay, I'll support your project just by letting you send me some. I'm not going to shill it. I'm not going to do it. I ain't shilling it. But I'll let you send me your piece of crap NFTs. That's kind of what I thought. But, send them my way. I had to pay to receive the free NFTs. About $100 worth of gas that I had to buy. I bought $100 worth of ETH and I spent over half of it in gas fees. So I spent over like $50-$60 in gas fees trying to receive a dozen NFTs for free. It just made me sick to my stomach. I mean, I refuse to participate in that. That's absurd. That's not moving towards a new financial system. And it's also part of holding back our country with the regulatory capture and the corruption. I'm not here to, stand on some moral high ground and say I'm perfect because I don't own Ethereum. But I'm here to say there was crap that occurred over there that's holding back our country and holding back humanity. So I'm not going to participate. That's all it is for me. Meanwhile, we do have these technologies over here with XRP, XLM, a few others that I think actually can move the needle in a serious way. And yet that's the one that goes and gets attacked. It's Modelo time. That's right. Now, I had Yeah, some good carne asada tacos last night. Had to pick up some Modelo's. So, absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, after I get off the live show tonight, I'm about to be going and grilling up. I should keep the live session going. We should just transfer over to a grill session. What do you guys say? Show you guys how I whip it up on the blacktop. The risk reward is like nothing we've ever seen, Christy, and that's just it. Relatively speaking, we're in crypto, so we know we got 50% downside. We know we have 70, 80% downside, right? But fundamentally speaking, never felt better about these positions that we've built. The other thing too that I want to be very, very clear about, guys, and I've been very vocal about this, is cash. I'm very comfy with the cash that I got, even though I know it's being devalued, even though I know we have a lot of inflation. I'm stacking the cash so that I'm ready to pounce, so I can stay liquid right now. Liquidity's drying up. The credit event is here. It is grilling season. It is grilling season. Boycott anything. Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Most folks won't make it. Most folks, yep. Grill cam. We're going to get the grill cam going. What do you guys say? Now, we're going to be watching because the bill is set to go live, I think, next week. If President Biden doesn't sign it, it'll automatically go live next week, I think on June 2nd or June 3rd for the FIT 21 bill. So we're going to be watching that one. He obviously has it on his desk, so at any time he could decide that it's time to, veto it. It's time to pass it. You're starting to see this news circulate around that I showed you guys earlier. Mt. Gox moves at least $2.9 billion in Bitcoin for the first time in 5 years. So we got some big whale movements happening right now. And this is what I'm saying, is that this spot right here, imagine you were on Mt. Gox, and I don't know what the average price of Bitcoin was when it got hacked, but it was way less than it is today. And so now you get to either receive Bitcoin or you're receiving cash, right? And you're looking at this thing. Are you going to ape into buying Bitcoin again at 70,000 after you bought it at $70 and it got hacked out of your wallet when it was wherever it was when Mt. Gox got hacked? Are you going to ape back into Bitcoin at 70,000? No, you're not. And this is why I keep on asking, what is the driver for Bitcoin and Ether going forward? I think that Bitcoin has been opened up and given a second life through the ETFs. I think the same thing's happening for Ethereum. But then after that, I ask, what's next? ETH 3.0? Are we going to move to something else? Are we going to become more centralized? Are we going to figure out a plan? I mean, it's still inflationary with no set limit on the amount of Ether that will ever be created. So people want to say, oh, Ether's inflation rate is very good for the industry. Well, relatively speaking, look around at our industry. Look around at our crypto space. To be relatively good for the crypto space is not something really that we got that's worth even mentioning, other than to say, to me, it's a concern knowing that there's no limit, there's no cap on Ether. There's none. There's no max supply. Most people don't even know that. Now, there's only so much Ether that's supposed to come into circulation through the act of the staking and whatever, but at this point, that could always be changed. When it comes to XRP, we know the cap has been set at 100 billion, and we know that we've already burned over 10 million. XRP truly is deflationary. Is all of it circulating? No, but all of it exists. All of the XRP that will ever exist does. Don't get distracted with other coins. They are distractions from the main event. And that's exactly how I feel too about gold and silver. Silver's up over about 45, almost 50%. just since the beginning of this year. People completely missing that. Gold up, well, I'll pull it up right now to show you guys. Gold up in a massive way to start off this year, 23%. Okay. And this to me is the main show of resetting the system, revaluing our assets. This is the revaluation underway right now. 2,350 for gold. As I've been saying, if we can hold this support, the strength remains. For silver, it was $30. We need to hold it. Well, we held it, and we take off once again. Look at these green candles, folks. And this is all the way, silver was all the way down to $22 just back in January and February. Little, triple tap off the 22, and then we sent it. And the shorts are getting wrecked on this one, but they've had time to cover their position. What's interesting, the central banks can't get exposure to silver. So they focus on gold, what they can get exposure to. And so what's so interesting about what's happening with gold right now is that for 11 straight months, there's actually been outflows out of the ETFs. Folks are dumping gold and silver ETFs, and the commodity space, more broadly speaking, they've been dumping their positions in the equities, the ETFs, the stocks. But the price of gold's still been going up. And we actually are observing that a retail investor in the West is not showing up to buy. When we track the data from the Silver Institute on silver, it is not retail investors that are buying up silver right now. They are not the ones driving this. This is an industrial utility demand that is driving silver to $31 right now. For gold, what's driving it higher? Well, central banks buying it at the fastest pace in 50 years, and they are draining vaults over in the East, around the world, where they're, getting it delivered from the COMEX to the Hong Kong COMEX vault, and they're selling it off into the physical market to where it will never enter the paper market once again, most likely. The central banks, they can't get exposure to silver, so what are they doing? They're stacking up the gold. This has not been driven by retail. Retail investors still don't get it. And that's why I responded to that comment there. It absolutely is a distraction and a sideshow from the main show. This is what actually backs a system. What actually runs the system? What actually makes a system flow? Well, that's XRP and the XRP Ledger. How much for a 5-minute phone call? Carl, appreciate you, my friend. Appreciate you. Yeah, at my website, ZachRector.com, you can get in touch with me if you have some questions. The best way to do it is actually just to come into our Patreon Discord group. You can join our live calls that we have every single Saturday. And so if you just have a few questions, you can reach out to me directly there, or you can hop into our weekly calls where I take Q&A every single week from my community. If you want to actually have a serious private call, I will not give you financial advice. Let me throw that caveat out there right away. I will not give you financial advice, but if you want me to sit down with you and take a look at what's going on in your life, your investments, your business, I will. That's available at my website, ZachRector.com. Michael, 100%. As soon as gold held 2,000, I knew it would be unleashed, Stu. 100%, brother. Stu, you're so spot on. It triple tapped. And we went to go hit it a fourth time. Basically the 2,070 price range. It tapped 2,050 to 2,070, somewhere in there. It tapped that 3 times. It was going for the 4th time. And what did we say? Triple tops don't work. They don't hold. Sure enough, blasted through that. All the way up now to 2,400, a new reality being set for gold. Now, think about this. I've been observing in our community how our community has been stacking the heck out of these metals. Our community has been going to my website, ZachRector.com, and they've been buying a bunch of metals. I know. I get to track it. You guys impress me. And I appreciate you for supporting me and supporting our affiliates that are doing their best to hook you guys up. I appreciate your support. I'm blown away at how much our audience and community has been stacking the heck out of these metals. But then I go and I read the Silver Institute report, and they're talking about how retail investment's actually down. That's why I know our community is so smart. While the rest of the masses are getting distracted by Mickey Mouse memes, we're building real positions here. We're riding this asset up over, nearly 50% just since the beginning of the year, shattering the returns of the stock market so far this year. Blowing it out. Gold and silver. Even gold at 23%, still way better than the S&P returns this year. So while the masses are cheerleading, watching CNBC, Bubble Vision, oh yay, Dow Jones hits 40,000. Nvidia's up to 1,100 in overnight trading. The returns that you would have got in gold and silver since the start of this year far outpaced that of the stocks. That's what they're not telling you. And the reason why they won't tell you is because they don't get paid when you drain your 401k retirement account and you move it on over to gold and silver. Or move it on over into private equity that you're in control of through a Roth IRA or whatever have you. See, they want to be your asset manager. They want to collect their fees. They want to show you the products that they get from Wall Street. Hey, we got a new ETF. There's a reason why they show up to your company every single year with a nice little cute, fancy made brochure that tells you about the 3 new index funds that they have for you and the couple ETFs that they have for you, perfectly ready to pitch you. And you're just happy that they brought and bought pizza for the staff and, whatever they did, right? You got pizza and pop. And so you show up for the pizza and pop and say, okay, this guy looks smart. Everything's fine. Everything's okay. And half of America doesn't even know what their 401k is invested in. Now, that's the problem. You don't have to use my links. You don't have to support me in that way. Please smash the thumbs up. I'd greatly appreciate that. All I want is for you to know what the heck your 401k is even in. I want you to have a conversation with your financial advisor, your asset manager. What is the plan? This is not a participation trophy economy anymore, sir. Yes, I understand Nvidia's at 1,100. It also did a 70% pullback in 2022. I want to miss that, sir. How do we do that? That's what we need to be asking these asset managers and these managers of your 401k and your pension. Where's your pension at, by the way? Now, I say this because the 60/40 portfolio just had its 3rd worst year in history. I say this because the bond market just had its worst year ever. I say this because Nvidia just corrected by 70% in 2022. I say this because we had a 30% pullback for the major indexes, 25 to 30% for the major indexes in 2022. Where do we go from here? Well, we can go a little bit higher, sure. But what kind of downside exposure do we have thinking that we're just invested in America by holding the S&P 500? What's your guess for silver in the next 2 years? I think that silver's on its way to its previous all-time high. I'm very comfortable in that thesis, but the problem that I do see for silver is with all these assets is that there's just a lack of supply actually coming online. One of the commodities that I'm watching more closely now is copper ever since the Vancouver Resource Investment Conference. See, this year I went with the mindset of I need to learn about copper, uranium, and some of these other resources that I haven't researched really at all. The copper play is incredible, and that's why it just went to all-time high. Once again, inflation is nowhere near done. Copper and gold going to all-time highs, proof of that, along with silver going through that growth driven by industrial utility demand. It's not from retail speculators. You see, silver is not running up right now because a bunch of folks are stacking it. That's not the case. There is significant demand outside of the West. The West retail investors are not stacking silver, actually, largely speaking. We're crazies, us silver stackers us crypto guys and gals. And we're used to being called crazy. And being a little bit crazy's paid off pretty well, hasn't it? As we've rode out the last 3-4 years and being able to survive, been able to thrive, been able to grow our businesses, and we're going to continue to double down. Now, folks, as I wrap up this session, I just want to remind everybody that all of our community resources can be found at zachrector.com. Linked up in the description down below. We also have a link for John Deaton. If you want to fight the good fight and you want to keep Elizabeth Warren away from our crypto, well, you know what to do. And anything that you can provide for John Deaton and his cause is going to go a long ways. And that's what we need. We have everything else. John Deaton is the picture perfect candidate to go take out Elizabeth Warren. The only thing that she has is the money backing her. That's it. That's it. We have John. 100% wins. And the only thing that she can outdo is outfund him. And so that's why it's so important that we contribute to John Deaton. That's why it's linked up in the description of all my videos. So let's support John Deaton. If you want to support my cause, I really do appreciate that as well. You guys can do so by tapping that thumbs up, making sure that you share our content out far and wide. I have some fresh updates coming for you guys tomorrow that you won't want to miss. Like I said, we got a real estate update coming this week, a couple other interviews on the way too that you guys won't want to miss. We're going to keep the content coming. This bull run is far from over. We want to make sure that we navigate through this thing together. So please make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next one. I appreciate all of you guys. God bless.